As you may know by now, the goal of the Love in Lebanon podcast is to keep you informed, to give you the inside scoop about the great things taking place in Lebanon. In episode 119, we've got two scoops full of updates from Andy Card. He's the founder and CEO of Card and Associates. Construction on the Hickory Junction Fieldhouse is ahead of schedule. Andy shares just a few of the great things we can expect within and surrounding this awesome addition. Episode 119 starts now.
Welcome to the Love in Lebanon podcast, highlighting all the great things happening in Lebanon, Indiana. Have an idea for an episode? Send an email to loveinlebanon@lebanon.in.gov.
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of our Love in Lebanon podcast, and we have a special guest here on episode 119 of our pod. You've no doubt seen all the changes that are taking place on State Road 39. So many great things to see off the interstate. We're talking, of course, about Hickory Junction and the field house that's being built there. You look at it, you look away, and then things have changed nonstop. The pace is tremendous. And joining us on this episode of our podcast is the founder and CEO of Card and Associates, Andy Card. We're thankful to have you here on the podcast. Appreciate you joining us, sir.
Joe, thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be on your show and bring everybody up to speed on what's happening out there on the west side at Hickory Junction.
Speaking of speed and speaking of pace, it's amazing how quickly this thing is being built. The walls are going up. We look now and the roof is being added, and 4 cranes are helping to put support beams out there on what'll be the football field and what you're going to talk about a little bit later on. Can you talk about the pace of that team that's putting this thing together and the quickness with which they're doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you, one of the first principles I learned in business is you surround yourself with good people. And, Card and Associates is obviously on the forefront of this, driving things. But the partners that we have out there with Meyer Najum, our architects, the engineers, everybody that's involved, we've got a great group, an awesome team. And, we're actually ahead of schedule. And despite the weather being a little difficult, but we're ginning on all 12 cylinders, man, and it's just been great.
That's been the amazing thing to me. It's great to see the progress, but then no matter what the weather, when on a cold day, they're out there. It was soggy after the storms, everybody, you know all about that. But the crew was still out there finding something to do no matter what Mother Nature throws at you guys and at the team. You're talking about how well they do in all circumstances.
Yeah, you're right. They're out there. We're on a timeline, and we got a commitment. And, one of the things that we did up front in anticipation of the Indiana weather that comes in, and one day it could be, snowing, and the next day you're laying out by, the sidewalk getting sun. The foundation and infrastructure that we put around by liming it enables us to get out there. As long as there isn't lightning, we can work out there really just about in any conditions due to the preparation that we took.
Excellent. And if you look further past the Hickory Junction development, everybody, you'll see some more dirt being added, and there's a huge mound of dirt taking place there as another site is being cleared. That is Bel Canto, the kind of the second piece of the project. And Andy, if you can kind of talk about that, and we kind of talked before we hit record that they're talking a little bit of a friendly competition, a little smack talk that once things dry out a little bit, they're going to be rivaling you guys at Hickory Junction at that site to get things going vertical and getting closer to completion. They're moving right along also.
Yeah, they're doing a fantastic job. Bel Canto came in as a partner very, very early on, and they're just a fantastic organization. We've got a really great partnership with them, but yeah, there is a little of that friendly competition going on, and hopefully our early success is pushing their crews to, kind of keep the gold standard going out there. And I believe that's going to happen. They activated about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Some rain didn't really help them out too well. But again, we had some temporary drainage and the borrow pond already dug in anticipation again of spring. And I'm very confident that they're actually ahead of schedule, even though it's their first month also. But they're going to do a great job. You're going to see a lot of change over there in the next coming months as we get into summer.
Yeah, the change has been fantastic so far, and then it's only going to get more transformational as the process goes along. Everybody, we're talking with Andy Card. He's the founder and CEO of Card and Associates, talking Hickory Junction and that development and the ripple effect it's going to have throughout our community here on the Love and Lebanon podcast. And if you can kind of take us underneath the roof, Andy, a little bit to kind of break down what people are looking at when they either drive by or maybe even get a glimpses or coming out after getting some chocolate from Donaldson's Chocolates or they're filling up their gas tanks, looking over and kind of looking and seeing and trying to figure out what is going to go underneath the roof there. Can you kind of break down what people are going to expect when the facility does open? And we'll talk about finished timelines in just a little bit. But
Sure, absolutely. And to your previous point, it seems like my car constantly wants to turn left into Donaldson's, and I have to force myself to go the other way. My wife got pretty mad at me for bringing home, a pound or so of chocolate every time I'm out there. So really looking forward to having them, and the Donaldsons are a great family. But you pull back the roof, and we have finalized and in a good position now to talk about exactly what's going in there. Really not much has changed. Again, we're going to have 10 basketball, volleyball courts, which also can be converted to 20 volleyball courts. And that will include about a 2,800, 3,000 seat arena championship court that will highlight the hard court surface. And then, of course, to the other side of the building, which we were always referred to as the turf, has now been expanded, and we'll be adding somewhere around 14 to 20 pickleball courts. And so that's probably the biggest change. Pickleball is a sport for those that aren't really aware of it or just learning about it. It is a phenomenon that's been really happening in kind of the coastal states, Florida, California, some of the warmer climate states, and it's now just exploding. Over 35 million people are now involved in pickleball. It's now on TV. There's professional teams. In order to capitalize off of this massive growth all the way from, young kids playing it now, it's going to be in high school sports, it's going to be college sports, it's going to be in the Olympics. We felt it was really important while we were at this stage to really make Lebanon the first pickleball indoor facility of its quality and nature in the state of Indiana.
that's incredible. I remember a couple weeks ago watching Agassi and McEnroe and Michael Chang and Andy Roddick were playing a little pickleball. It truly, as you mentioned, LeBron owns the team. I think Tom Brady also. It's amazing how much pickleball has taken off here locally. Also, John Messenger and our parks director adding pickleball courts, and the mayor is a big fan as well. Boy, those have really taken off, and being able to add that's going to mean huge things here in Lebanon.
Yeah, it's gonna be great for the citizens of Lebanon because they're now going to be able to play pickleball in a climate neutral environment, and they're going to be able to play all year round. Pickleball's fun. I play every day, but sometimes when the wind's blowing a little bit, or it's hot, or it's too cold, it's nice to be able to go indoors and play indoors, and it not be a warehouse or a
gymnasium with the slick court and all that.
Yeah, a church gathering area. So pickleball's really become a formidable sport, and it's really taken over. But not only that, is it going to be a great amenity for the citizens of Lebanon and Boone County as a whole, but now Hickory Junction Fieldhouse will now be the very, very first indoor center and center period in the state of Indiana to attract those professional tournaments. So it now is just going to further enhance the tourism and people visiting our city and being able to come and bring their dollars to spend in the restaurants and the hotels, etc. So it's really added a whole nother layer that we were not talking about with the mayor's office in the beginning, but has certainly come to the forefront.
So you're telling me that we could have a volleyball tournament going on one section, one piece of this Hickory Junction Fieldhouse, maybe a football or indoor or something on the turf, and then a pickleball get-together, a gathering. You could have that whole triumvirate of athletic events taking place under one roof here in Lebanon, Indiana.
That's exactly what I'm telling you.
That's incredible.
And even to further that, with flooring system that's made out of carbon fiber. So if on that certain weekend we have all three things going on, but we need 20 more pickleball courts, or we need 12 more basketball courts, or 19 more volleyball courts, we can activate that flooring system, and we have temporary basketball, pickleball, volleyball courts that can go on top of that system to make sure that we can cover the needs of all three sports at the same time.
That's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Friends, we're talking with Andy Card. He is the founder and CEO of Card & Associates. If someone's listening to this podcast and they've missed all the graphics and the excitement, and they don't read IBJ and Inside Indiana Business, and they may be under a rock somewhere, and haven't seen the other success stories that Card & Associates has passed along, and they're saying this is kind of a pipe dream for Lebanon and an attempt, and what are the likelihood that this is going to happen? Can you talk about the resume that you guys and Card & Associates have built up in different communities and seen similar successes of how this can be a great addition, not just for out-of-town attraction? That's kind of the misconception that people think that it's just for out-of-towners. But are there success stories you guys have had in the past where locals have had their lives improved and different amenities have been added that really augment the people of where they call home, not just those out-of-towners?
Absolutely, Joe. The local impact that these facilities have are first and foremost always what we look at first and foremost, because I don't think I've met a mayor or a council, including Mayor Gentry. They're always looking out for their cities first. And we learned that really early on. Our first facility was in Hamilton County at Westfield, and became a part of Grant Park. From there, that was our very first facility. But, the local impact that made is, I don't even think you can measure it. So we went on to another Hamilton County city in Noblesville. Then from there, we went up to Madison County with Pendleton. It was a little bit different facility, but it's a large pickleball, tennis, and cheerleading facility, as well as a workout area. But all of those communities, it's not a coincidence. People want to live, most folks want to live around these facilities. And it doesn't matter if you're a family with no children, small children, children in junior high, high school, or if you're a senior. We create local programming for all those citizens to come inside and use the facility. And sometimes it's through a league, sometimes it's free through an open gym. But the facts are that folks want to live around these facilities. That means you attract people that obviously want to live there. So that means you get workers, you get good teachers, you get all kinds of abstract stuff for people wanting to live here, which then makes companies want to come here to create more jobs. Then you got the tourism side, which enhances the businesses that are already here. You're bringing new amenities, and it's just a ripple effect. And quite frankly, the communities benefit. 90% of the benefit is for the community.
And I see you get excited about this, and it's just great to see your passion. How great is it to be able to have the flexibility to say, not only are you a pickleball fan, but knowing that it's a growing industry and entity, and it might be something that Lebanon can really benefit from, and where we're located here right along I-65. How great is it to be able to have that energy, being able to put that into practice, and then being able to kind of move things and grow things with these sports facilities and how they can kind of ebb and flow along the way?
Well, I don't think I can think of an adjective that describes my incitement. I love what I do. I love the fact that we touch so many lives, especially kids. I have 5 children. They were all sports kids. And there's opportunities for all level of play. But we're kind of touching on pickleball here a little bit. The really cool thing that separates Lebanon from what I've done before is, we kind of came into youth basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball. Pickleball is a brand new kind of thing for youth and for most people in the Midwest. And by brand new, I mean probably within the last 3 or 4 years, it's really gained popularity. And the fact that Lebanon is going to come out of the ground as the first really true state-of-the-art, modern, tournament-ready, league-ready facility it's really something that nobody else in Indiana can say with these facilities. So it's really cool. In fact, Jenny Morgan will be our new president of pickleball. She's currently running the Pendleton facility, and she oversees the tennis and pickleball there. And we've already started. She's engaged with all the amenities. We've already are forming leagues and sponsors and booking tournaments. And so, here we are still, a good 6-7 months away from opening, but the pickleball just took this whole project to another level. So the excitement is real, and it should be really even additional kind of whipped cream on top of the already great banana split that we've created.
And before we hit record, if we can talk about it just a little bit, your wheels are still turning, and that excitement you're talking about, trying to find an adjective for, are still going. There may be some other announcements, some other news to be made regarding the Hickory Junction facility in the not too distant future, potentially.
Yes, well, we've created a lot of excitement on our own, just between Cardin Associates and the city of Lebanon. And Mayor Gentry and I spent 2 years with both of our staffs really plotting this out and planning this. And for me, people say, "Oh, Andy, you knew about the LEAP, and you knew about Lily," and I did not know any of this. So we were all planning this development, at least from our side, and didn't really know a lot about LEAP. But what's happened is just the field house alone is a major anchor, because it's going to draw over 1 million visitors a year. But now that LEAP has been announced, the activity around the need for restaurants that are not in Lebanon, or or in hotels and multifamily housing, single-family housing, other support mechanisms like a nice big specialized grocery store. We're going to announce a great partner in a convenience center from the East Coast that is rated 4.5 stars for its food.
No.
So my whole idea around this development is I wanted to create a place where folks from Boone County, specifically Lebanon, you don't have to drive to another city. You don't have to go to your neighbor to the south or to the west or downtown. You can stay right here in Lebanon, and you're going to have the cool restaurants, and we're going to bring stuff to this development that, quite frankly, a lot of them are coming to Indiana for the first time, or they may be a very popular restaurant with a location that's 25, 50 miles away. We're going to have that right in Lebanon. And that whole response, and we're working through letters of intent, those announcements are going to be forthcoming really soon. And the only thing that's really holding us back right now is we're working through the final details with NDOT to make sure we understand exactly how the roads are going to flow and the traffic is going to be controlled so there isn't a negative impact. Once those details are finalized and we know exactly where, this street's going to go, et cetera, which we're really close, we're like 95% there, then these announcements will start coming out. And there's bank partners, and you're going to see a lot of really neat stuff getting announced in the near future.
Are you saying that neighbors from the Indy area or communities to our east, larger than us, might be coming west to spend some time, spend some money in Lebanon, Indiana? Is that really going to happen, buddy?
100%.
Okay. That'd be okay. We take that, right?
Absolutely. That's the whole idea. That's the economic driver, and why cities get in partnerships with us is so we create jobs, we create opportunities, and we create money to come into the city over and beyond the citizens that are there.
Everybody, we're talking with Andy Card. He's the founder and CEO of Cardin Associates here on the Love and Lebanon podcast, talking about Hickory Junction and everything in between, talking about fielding some calls. So restaurant, check. You've received calls about those already. Retail, check. You got some calls on that? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Entertainment, because that was one of the things, too, that people or residents have said, want more things to do. Have you fielded some calls? Not going to get specific here, but have you fielded some of those maybe?
Yeah, we've got amenities around gaming, arcades, bowling alley, all those type of leisure types of things, trampoline parks, really any possible thing inside go-kart track, all that stuff that you just see in other towns will all be part of this amenity, because part of what you want to do is you want to make sure when people come and park, we are going to create connectivity. So it doesn't matter if you park on the east side or the west side of Hickory Junction as the development, you will have easy accessibility to all the amenities by foot. We're even talking about some shuttle type services that move you through the development. And certainly if you take advantage of the beautiful townhome that are going to be built, apartments with Bel Canto, you walk right out of your front door and you walk, right down to your favorite restaurant or your favorite activity. So all that stuff is part of the master planning, and those are businesses and opportunities that we're getting calls weekly, quite frankly daily, to be honest with you. And it's really managing what's going to be the best for Lebanon as a city, and what does everybody want to have. And we talk to a lot of people. We're not out here trying to act like we know what everybody wants. We talk to the people. We visit the restaurants and for lunch and talk to the mayor's office and have welcomed many questions and comments from the citizens. So it really is a team effort, not just by our group, but by really Lebanon as a whole.
Man, so much excitement with this. This is going to be unbelievable. And those people that are going to be in town for the athletic events are going to no doubt enjoy those amenities, and then us locals, we get to enjoy them the rest of the time. And so we'll take that any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, because the key is, and other cities have made this mistake, and so we're very careful that when we come into a new venture with a city like Lebanon, that when you create this field house, it's great, and you get all the people there, but then you don't want them to drive away. You don't want to drive them to the neighbors to the south or to the east. You want the hotels to be there so they stay and play in your development. They don't drive off and take their money someplace else. And I'm telling you, the leadership out of Lebanon grabbed that from the very beginning, and that's why this is going to be so successful for everybody involved, but especially the citizens of Lebanon.
You mentioned the citizens of Lebanon. Would love to chat on about that just for a second. Before we hit record, everybody, talking about not wanting to take away from the fabric that's already here was something that Andy, you touched on, and not wanting to have what's being created right now at a breakneck pace out of Hickory Junction, that in any way taking away or competing with any of the fabric. And we mentioned downtown and the revitalization that happened downtown in the heart of our city, but not wanting to fight with that, but on the other hand, being able to augment it to have a great 1-2 punch of a great amenity in Hickory Junction, but then a great place to hang out and spend some more time and being downtown.
I can speak for Card & Associates. I'm not going to tell you this happens everywhere, but what you're going to see in Lebanon that has happened in the other communities in central Indiana that we're in, and we're going up north as well as south. We're actually in Las Vegas, Florida, and what you'll see is when we build this amenity, this actually will be a great big catalyst to downtown being all it can be. You're going to see development and businesses just be financially more impact to a positive. You're going to see new growth down there, because Mayor Gentry is no different than the other mayors that we worked with. He put downtown Lebanon as a priority. In no way can this Hickory Junction impact Lebanon in a negative way downtown. And quite frankly, I'll speak for myself. I'm looking for opportunities to come down and develop some stuff, apartments, restaurants, other retail opportunities, because it's going to do nothing but modernize in the right way downtown Lebanon. It's happened everywhere else.
And Andy, I'm sure you mentioned it earlier in the pod. Something that we heard when the LEAP development was announced is that we knew about this well in advance, 3-4 years ago, and it's simply not true. But that you were talking earlier, that really augments what you are wanting to do and what's going to happen with Hickory Junction, and how that's really going to add to the pace and the enjoyment that the locals are going to see with the different things that happen, to be able to meet the needs of a lot of what's headed our way in the form of the LEAP development.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. On every large development like this, we do a very extensive economic impact and feasibility study that takes about 5 months to complete. And so we were convinced that this whole idea of Lebanon and Boone County and the growth of what's coming up north from 65 and the proximity to Purdue University and Lafayette, we were convinced that this was a home run, okay? Then once LEAP started coming along, the mayor and I and all the team members are looking at each other and go, man, that was really cool. God's looking out over us, man. I mean, this is great. This is unicorns and chocolate teddy bears. So it just made it a grand slam in the ninth inning, 2 outs, 2 strikes. And it's just, I couldn't have picked better timing. But no, you're right. I certainly didn't know anything about it. I can tell you that. And neither did anybody else.
No.
Somebody would have beat us to the punch.
Yep. And I don't hope you don't mind. I wrote down unicorns and chocolate teddy bears. We're going to have to use that in some way, shape, or fashion. As we take the turn here, the final turn, we're talking with Andy Card. He's the founder and CEO of Card & Associates. Timeline-wise, you talked about meeting and exceeding expectations so far with the building timeline, not just with the Hickory Junction facility, but also Belcanto as well. Where are we at as far as opening day? Should we start stretching now and finding our pickleball paddles and getting ready to go indoors and play a little bit and be ready for that thing to open?
So, our plan all along to be on schedule was to have a soft opening January 1st and, really be ready to go. It's really important for the facility that as you get closer into winter, that your indoor leagues and your indoor stuff has been solidified for the locals, regional, and the tournaments. So I anticipate now probably the soft opening actually in December.
Wow.
And what we'll do is we'll have a week where we just open the facility to the public and we invite everybody in. We might even buy you a hot dog and a Coke and let people come in, let the kids shoot around on the courts or play on the field, let the pickleball people come in and play some pickleball and just do a community event and just kind of get the new staff working with lots of people, in the building. And then I would say by mid-January, we're going to be full bore and leagues will have started and all the stuff that's going to happen in there will be full bore. In fact, we're probably going to be sold out in the facility from a tournament standpoint probably before the end of August.
No way.
Yes,
of this year. Sold out already.
This year. We'll be sold out for 2024 by August, September of this year.
And that includes basketball, volleyball, all the sports that...
All of it.
Oh, my
All
goodness.
And when I mean sold out, that's from the tournament side. Now, obviously, we'll be building up our volleyball leagues, our basketball leagues. We've already created the colors and the name. We're about 98% there. So if you invite me back in a month or two and do another follow-up, I can tell you some of those details. But, you've got to be about a year in advance on your planning. We can't wait till we open. So that really gets back to what I was telling you earlier. When I'm bringing Nike and Adidas and the NBA and the volleyball people and the baseball tournaments and the leagues and all that, and you're booking stuff for next year, I better be open. And we better be ready to serve at a gold standard through operations. And so all that's going on behind the scenes besides the construction. I mean, we've got a full-time staff and part-time staff already hired that's actually working out of the trailers and at the Card & Associate offices on all this stuff I'm talking to you about.
Wow. Unbelievable. I had no idea. Andy, we appreciate the perspective. Would love to have you back in a month or so
to come back, and
maybe some more news to share.
We can figure out a way. The roof and side should be on soon, so we can start doing some hard hat tours. And I'd love to invite you out. And when it's safe, we'll probably even have some community days and do a barbecue or something and let people come out. And as long as we can keep everybody safe, we want the community to continue to be informed about the progress, because we're all in this together.
So everybody, maybe our next podcast with Andy will have to be on location, which we can do with our equipment here. Maybe we'll have to be inside and take a look around. That would be awesome.
That'd be great.
Fantastic. Andy, thank you again for joining us on the podcast. We very much appreciate it. Thanks for the insight and honesty with everything.
You're welcome, Joe. Thanks for having me. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Everybody, thanks for listening to this episode of the Love in Lebanon podcast. Boy, just take a look at the Hickory Junction Fieldhouse and you'll see all the great changes that are taking place, and we can all benefit from that, not only just the out-of-towners, but us locals as well. Thanks again for listening to this episode. More episodes are coming your way soon. Take care.